Welcome back to the Deep End. You are listening to The Deep Dive, and we are back with another installment of our special ongoing series, Building Humans.
And this is what, entry number 26 in the journey?
26.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like we've been climbing a mountain. And, every time we think we've reached a good place to rest.
The peak is actually higher than we thought.
That is the perfect analogy. And honestly, every single time we crack open one of these files, I feel like I have to fundamentally reprogram my brain.
Right.
I come in thinking I know how the world works, especially when it comes to parenting or education, and then bam, the research just flips the entire table.
It's a process of unlearning as much as it is learning, isn't it? We're sort of stripping away the wallpaper of societal habit to see the structural beams underneath.
And today is absolutely no exception.
Yeah.
We're diving into a collaboration that, it brings some serious weight to the table. We're working with materials brought to us by the Al-Mahaba Foundation
That fantastic organization.
and the Dar el-Khalima Publishing House.
Two groups that are really doing the heavy lifting when it comes to the, let's call it the spiritual and educational development of the human being.
And looking at this stack of research, the source material for today, specifically focusing on these insights from Maria Montessori's The Secret of Childhood.
Yes.
I think we have a genuine plot twist on our hands.
Yeah.
And I really don't use that phrase lightly.
A plot twist in the narrative of life? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. Think about the standard operating procedure for humanity.
Yeah.
The narrative we all just buy into without questioning.
Okay.
We're the adults. We're the big ones. We hold the keys to the car, the bank account, the house. We know how the world works, taxes, traffic laws, how to cook a chicken without giving everyone salmonella.
We possess the technical competence for survival. That's the idea.
Exactly. And then you have the child, small, helpless, biologically incapable of surviving on their own. They don't know anything yet.
An empty vessel, so to speak.
Right. So naturally, the flow of information, the flow of teaching is a waterfall. It goes from the top down. Adult teaches child.
That is the traditional hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's linear, it's logical, and it's how we've structured our schools, our homes, our entire societies for centuries.
We see the child as that empty vessel, just waiting to be filled by all our accumulated knowledge.
But looking at this material, looking at what Montessori and the Foundation are arguing,
It feels like they're flipping the whole board game over.
they aren't just flipping the board game, they are suggesting that we've been playing the wrong game entirely.
So let's start with the hook. The thing that really grabbed me when I was reading through the prep notes.
Go on.
There's this central paradox that serves as the foundation for this whole deep dive. How can a helpless child, someone who literally cannot survive without us, be the teacher? And it leads to this massive, a somewhat existential question. Who is actually raising whom?
That is the question of the hour. Who is raising whom? If we look at the surface level, the material reality, then yes, of course the adult raises the child.
Right. We provide the food, the shelter.
We provide shelter, calories, protection, and instruction on how to navigate the physical world. But Montessori argues that this is a very, very one-sided ledger.
That's just the logistics.
Precisely. We teach them the mechanics of life, geography, arithmetic, how to tie a shoelace, how to use a spoon. These are all functional skills.
Sure. Necessary but functional.
But the argument here, the real plot twist, is that while we're busy teaching them the mechanics, they're teaching us the essence.
The essence of life. Wow. That sounds incredibly heavy for a Tuesday.
It is heavy, but paradoxically, it's also incredibly light. The thesis is this. The child teaches us the hard subjects. We, the adults, teach them the easy stuff.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to push back on that. You think math is the easy stuff.
I do.
Have you seen modern calculus? Or, forget calculus. Have you tried doing your own taxes? That's not easy.
Compared to patience, true, deep patience. Compared to humility. Compared to the ability to live purely, 100%, in the present moment without any anxiety about the past or future.
Well, when you put it like that.
Yes, math is incredibly easy. Math has rules. Math has a solution you can write down. The human soul. That is much, much more complex.
So the source material actually describes the child as a spiritual master.
A spiritual master sent to refine the adult. That's the phrase.
Wow. A spiritual master. That's a massive title.
Yeah.
I'm picturing a toddler who, might have just thrown spaghetti on the wall because the fork was the wrong color. Calling that being a spiritual master feels like a like a bit of a stretch.
And yet that is exactly where the lesson lies. If you see the spaghetti incident as just a mess, a behavioral problem, then you miss the entire lesson.
Okay.
The mission of this deep dive today is to explore that specific dynamic. We really need to look at how the child acts as a mirror for the adult's soul.
A mirror for the soul.
If we can wrap our heads around this one concept, it changes everything, absolutely everything, about how we interact with the little humans in our lives.
Okay, so let's unpack this mirror effect. This is the first big section of our source material, and I'll be honest, reading this part, it made me squirm a little.
It should be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Growth is rarely comfortable. I mean, think about it. If you're comfortable, you're probably stagnating.
that's a fair point. So the source asked this really, I'd say, triggering question. Why do children's bad behaviors set us off so much? Logically, we know they're kids. We know they don't have emotional regulation yet. Their prefrontal cortex isn't developed.
We know this scientifically. It's a fact.
Right. But when a kid screams or defies us or just ignores us, we don't just get annoyed. We often get intensely angry or anxious or deeply personally frustrated. Why is that reaction so out of proportion to the event itself?
It's out of proportion because it's not just about the child, it's about us. The concept here involves what's called the shadow.
The shadow. Okay, that sounds a bit Jungian. Can we define that for a listener who might not be up on their depth psychology?
Sure, let's simplify it. In simple terms, the shadow refers to all the parts of ourselves that we hide or suppress or just flat out deny.
The stuff we don't like about ourselves.
Exactly. It's the impatience we pretend we don't have, the anger we push down to be polite, the deep insecurity we try to mask with confidence.
Okay.
The child, in their purity, acts as a mirror. When you're looking at your child, particularly when they're misbehaving, you are often seeing a direct reflection of your own internal state.
Especially those shadow aspects.
Especially the shadow aspect.
So the child is essentially a biofeedback loop.
Precisely. A feedback loop for the soul. That's a perfect way to put it. The child is not acting in a vacuum. They are incredibly sensitive to the emotional and psychic environment of the home.
Okay.
So the behavior you see in the child, and maybe more importantly, the specific reaction it triggers in you, is a direct diagnostic tool for your own condition.
I want to make this really concrete because I can feel listeners thinking, no, no, no. My kid is just screaming because they want a cookie, not because of my deep-seated psychic shadow.
A fair point. Let's use the examples from the source. Take impatience. This is a classic parenting struggle.
The morning rush.
The morning rush. You're trying to get out the door. The child is moving slowly. They're struggling with a zipper, or they got distracted by a toy, or they stopped to look at a speck of dust on the floor.
Happens every day in millions of homes.
And you feel this rising tide of irritation, right? Maybe you snap at them. Hurry up, we're going to be late.
I think every parent on earth, myself included, has been there.
Of course. But the mirror effect asks you to stop just for a second and examine that irritation. Why is the child's slowness triggering you so intensely? Is it really about the zipper?
Probably not.
Often, if you look in that mirror, you realize the child is just reflecting your own lack of presence. You are rushing. You are mentally already at work, in the meeting, stuck in traffic.
So I'm living in the future.
You're living in the future, worrying about being late, worrying about the consequences, and the child is where?
The child is right there, in the present, with the zipper.
Exactly. The friction comes because you're in the future and the kid is in the now. Your impatience isn't really about the zipper at all. It's about your own inability to be present.
So the child is just exposing my anxiety about time.
They are holding up a mirror to your disordered relationship with the moment.
Ouch. Okay. That one lands. I'm blaming the kid for being slow, but really, I'm the one who's frantic.
Correct. Or let's take a heavier one, like anger.
Okay.
If a child is displaying a lot of aggression or rage or just intense anger, before we rush to correct the child, the source suggests we have to check our own stress levels first.
Also.
Are we carrying around a low-level hum of anxiety or hostility from our work week? Are we stressed about money? Are we frustrated with our partner?
That low-level hum, that's such a good way to describe it. We think we're hiding it.
We do.
We think, because we aren't actively yelling, the kids don't know that we're stressed to the max.
But children are porous. They are emotionally absorbent. They absorb the atmosphere of the home like a sponge absorbs water.
So they feel it, even if they don't understand it.
They feel it viscerally. If the parent is a tightly wound spring of stress, the child will often act out that tension. They physically manifest what you are emotionally suppressing.
It's like they're the barometer for the house. If the atmospheric pressure is high, the kid is the one who actually creates the storm.
That is a beautiful way to put it. They are the barometer. And this leads to a really fundamental shift in perspective that the Al-Mahaba Foundation is advocating for.
Which is?
We have to move from the mindset of correcting the child to the mindset of healing the self.
That is a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I mean, usually parenting is defined as correcting the child. That's the job description, right? Fix the behavior.
It is part of the job, certainly. We have to guide them. We can't let them run into traffic. But the source argues that the primary work, the most important work, is internal.
So when I see a flaw in my child or a behavior that really triggers me.
The very first step is to look inward.
So what does that mean instead of, punishment or a timeout?
It means that instead of punishing the reflection, which is the child, you should thank the teacher.
Thank the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, walk me through that, because if my teacher is currently screaming on the floor of the grocery store,
Right.
thank you
Yeah.
is not the first phrase that comes to my mind. It's
Okay.
not even in the top 100.
I know. I understand it sounds completely counterintuitive, but just consider the mechanism for a moment. If their slowness triggers your impatience,
Okay.
they have just taught you that you possess a deficit of patience. They have highlighted a crack in your spiritual character that needs repair.
So like a little auditor for my soul.
Yes. Or if their noise triggers your anxiety, they are showing you that you have no internal quiet. They are revealing a wound that you need to tend to.
Wow. That is really hard to do in the heat of the moment. To stop and say, thank you, toddler, for this public meltdown, because you're teaching me about my own social anxiety and my desperate need for control.
It is incredibly hard. That's why we call them spiritual masters. A master pushes you. A master doesn't make it easy.
Right.
If it were easy, you wouldn't learn the lesson. A gym trainer who just lets you sit on the bench isn't making you any stronger. The child is the trainer adding more weight to the bar.
So it's about shifting from punishment to gratitude. That's the pivot.
That is the pivot. It transforms the entire relationship from adversarial me versus this unruly child to collaborative.
We're growing together.
Or, more accurately,
Hmm.
I am growing because of you. You are the catalyst for my spiritual evolution.
This feeds really well into the second section of the material, which is all about mindfulness. Because if we're going to catch ourselves in these moments, if we're actually going to be able to look in the mirror, we need a certain level of awareness.
We do. And this is where the irony of modern adult life really comes into sharp focus.
Oh, the irony is thick here. We have an entire global economy built around mindfulness now.
The economy of mindfulness. It's a boom industry.
Right. I mean, billions and billions of dollars. Meditation apps, yoga retreats, silent ashrams, books on Zen, courses on how to breathe better.
We are paying a fortune to learn how to just be.
We're paying to recover something that we've lost. And the source makes this brilliant, almost painful point here.
Which is?
We're doing all of this striving, all of this spending to achieve a state of being that the child possesses naturally.
For free.
The child is the natural Zen master.
They require no apps. They require no subscription services. They do not need to be taught how to be present.
They are simply there. Their default state is the goal of all our spiritual practice. There's this great example in the source. I'm calling it the ant experiment. It's not really an experiment, just a scenario.
Okay.
I want to paint this picture for you, the listener, because I think it captures the whole idea so perfectly.
Please do. It's a universal scene.
So you have a child, could be your child, could be any child. And this child finds an ant, just a regular tiny ant on the sidewalk. And the child stops and they watch this ant.
Yeah.
And they don't just glance at it. They watch it for 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a lifetime for an adult mind. An eternity.
It is. If I'm standing on a sidewalk for 10 minutes doing nothing but looking at an ant, my skin starts to crawl. I'm checking my phone. I'm making a mental grocery list.
You're worrying about that email you didn't send.
I'm wondering if my parking meter's expired. My mind is a whirlwind.
Exactly. Your mind is everywhere except the sidewalk. But the child.
The child is locked in, 100%.
Let's analyze that moment. What is happening in the child's mind? Or maybe, more importantly, what is not happening?
Well, for one, they aren't thinking about their credit score.
They are not worrying about tomorrow's bills. They are not dwelling on yesterday's mistakes or the toy they broke last week. They are absolutely, completely, totally immersed in the reality of the ant. The movement of its legs, the path it takes over a tiny pebble, the way its antenna twitch.
It's pure observation.
No.
It's pure connection with the world.
That is the state that adults spend 20 years and thousands of dollars trying to get back to, that state of flow or presence or being in the now.
And the child is doing it on the sidewalk for free.
Yes. And usually, what does the adult do in that exact scenario?
Oh, man. The adult interrupts.
Every time.
Come on, let's go. It's just an ant. We're going to be late. Put that down. It's dirty.
We break the trance, we pull them out of the now, and we drag them into our world of next.
That is tragic when you put it that way.
Yeah.
We are dragging them out of a state of paradise and pulling them into, well, into our stress.
We are. And this touches on what the Source calls the wonder of life. As adults, we suffer from a profound deficit of wonder.
We've seen it all before.
We think we have. An ant is just a pest. A leaf is just yard waste to be raked. Rain is just an inconvenience that causes traffic.
We've categorized and labeled everything.
To the point where we don't really see it anymore. We just see the label.
It's like we've lost the resolution. Our whole life is in low res. We see the icon of the tree, not the actual living tree.
What a great way to put it. But for the child, everything is in high definition, 4K. Everything is new. And because it's new, it is wonderful.
There's this irony of preparation mentioned in the Source that I want to touch on.
Yes, this is so important.
We spend so much energy preparing the child for the future. That's our main excuse for rushing them all the time.
We have to get to school.
I have to get them to school so they can learn, so they can get into a good college, so they can get a good job, so they can retire and finally relax.
It's this linear march toward a future that doesn't exist yet. And in doing so, we miss the lesson.
The lesson the child is teaching us right now.
The child is saying, life is happening right here with this ant. And the adult is saying, no, life happens later after you get your degree.
We're sacrificing the now for a hypothetical then.
And in the process, we are teaching the child to be just as anxious and future-focused as we are. We are teaching them to ignore the wonder. We are, in effect, systematically dismantling their natural Zen state.
So what the Source is arguing is that the child forces the adult to slow down.
If we let them.
If we let them. That's the key phrase right there, isn't it? Because usually we resist it. We fight the slowdown.
We fight it because our culture worships efficiency. But efficiency in parenting is very often the enemy of connection.
So when the child forces you to stop and look at the ant,
they are inviting you to re-engage with the immediate world. They are offering you a free ticket back to mindfulness. If you accept that ticket, you don't just help the child, you lower your own blood pressure. You reconnect with the beauty of the world you've forgotten how to see.
Okay, so practical application here. The next time my kid stops to look at a piece of, I don't know, old gum on the sidewalk.
A very common treasure.
Instead of saying, gross, and dragging them away, I should have, I should actually look at the gum.
You should look at the gum. You should kneel down and ask what they see. You should try to enter their world just for a moment.
Okay.
You might be surprised at what you find. Maybe the pattern of the cracks in the sidewalk next to it is interesting. Maybe the color is fascinating to them. It's a form of meditation. It is an invitation to stop running and start seeing.
This transitions us perfectly into the third section, serving the little master.
Yes.
Because if we accept all this, that they are the teachers, that they have this spiritual wisdom we've lost, then our entire role changes.
It does. It changes from commander to servant. Now, I want to pause here because we need to be very, very careful with this word service, especially in the context of the Foundation's principles.
Right, because in our culture, service can sound, well, it can sound weak. It can sound like we're just supposed to be their maids, their butlers, just cleaning up their messes, doing whatever they want, letting them walk all over us.
And that is not what we mean here. Absolutely not. That's servitude or permissiveness. We are not talking about being subservient in a way that creates a tyrant.
Okay, good.
We are talking about service in the highest spiritual sense. Love for all, service for everyone. In this context, serving the child means serving their spirit. It means serving their highest development.
So how do we do that? What does this philosophy of service actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon when everyone is tired and cranky?
The advice here is very simple in theory, but very, very difficult in practice.
I'm ready.
Listen more. Talk less.
Oof. Okay. I talk a lot. I think most of us adults do.
Most parents do. We explain. We lecture. We correct. We narrate everything. Don't do that. Do this. Look at that. Why did you do this? Put your shoes on. Not those shoes, the other shoes.
We just fill the air with our words.
We think we're filling their heads with knowledge. We operate under the assumption that more words equals better parenting.
But really, we're just creating noise.
Often, yes. We're cluttering their mental space. Serving the child means moving from being the source of knowledge to being the receiver of wisdom.
Which requires a huge shift in the ego.
A massive one. Which brings us to this idea of being the humble student.
Okay,
We must become the humble student.
let's go back to that scenario you mentioned where the child shows you something small. A leaf, a stone, a bug. The source calls this a critical moment of interaction.
It's a threshold moment. I would even call it a holy moment.
Why so significant?
Because in that moment, the child has found a treasure. To them, that stone is not just a rock, it's a jewel. It has a texture, a shape, a story. When they bring it to you, they are offering you a precious gift.
They're sharing a piece of their world.
More than that, they're sharing a piece of their soul. They are saying, I see beauty and wonder here. Do you see it too?
And the incorrect response, which I am definitely guilty of, probably on a daily basis, is what?
The incorrect response is dismissal. That's nice, honey. Now put it down. It's dirty.
Oh.
Or even worse, just a generic, distracted, cool while you're still looking at your phone.
So ignoring it or treating it as trivial. Treating their treasure as if it's trash.
And when we do that, we are sending a devastating message. We are telling the child, your perception of the world is wrong. What you think is valuable is actually worthless. What you find beautiful is actually dirty.
We crush that spark of wonder.
We begin the process of cynicism. We teach them to stop trusting their own instincts.
Man, that hits hard. We are literally teaching them to doubt their own joy.
We are.
So what is the correct response in that holy moment?
The correct response is to stop. Physically stop what you are doing. Get down on their level. That physical change in altitude is incredibly important.
Eye to eye.
And look with them. Not just at the object, but try to see the object through their eyes. Wow, look at those little sparkles in the stone. Where did you find it? How does it feel in your hand?
You treat it with the same gravity you would treat a quarterly report from your boss.
More gravity. Because this is about connection. This is about respecting what the source calls the child's spiritual rhythm.
Their spiritual rhythm.
They move at a different pace, a rhythm dictated by discovery, not by the clock. Serving the little master means respecting that rhythm whenever it is humanly possible.
This all requires a metaphor that the source brings up, which I love. It's the ego death.
Yes, this is absolutely crucial.
We have to step down from the role of the professor.
And we love being the professor. It feels good. It feels good to know things. It feels powerful to be the authority. It feels safe. I know the answer. You don't.
It's a comfortable position.
But to learn from the child, we must accept the role of the apprentice.
From professor to apprentice.
We are apprenticing in the art of living. The child is the master of living. They are pure life force. We adults, we've become calcified, layered with societal expectations, defense mechanisms, cynicism.
And the goal is to learn from their purity.
To learn from the child's inherent purity.
It's interesting because usually when you're an apprentice, you want to learn a specific skill, like how to weld or how to code or how to bake bread.
Right.
But here the skill is, what, is it purity? Is that the skill?
The skill is authenticity. The skill is joy. The skill is unconditional love. The skill is forgiveness.
Explain that last one. Forgiveness.
Think about it. A child does not hold a grudge like an adult does. They can be absolutely furious one moment, completely expressing that pure anger, and then be hugging you the next, completely expressing that pure love.
Yeah, the switch can be jarring.
But it's pure. They don't carry the baggage of the past. They don't say, well, I'm not going to hug you now because of what you said 3 weeks ago on Tuesday.
True.
Yeah.
That's a very adult thing to do.
It's a high spiritual state that most monks spend their entire lifetimes trying to achieve, the ability to live free of resentment.
And we have these little monks running around our living rooms in diapers.
Precisely. And we think we're supposed to be teaching them how to live. It's comical when you really step back and look at it.
This brings us to the final major section of the material, which is the life coach analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I love this because it puts a humorous spin on it, but it's also practically true.
It is very true. The child is the ultimate life coach.
And the best part, they are the unpaid professional.
Well, let's be honest. They are expensive in other ways. Diapers, food, college funds, the cost of sleep deprivation.
Okay, fair enough. But they don't charge an hourly rate for their coaching sessions.
No, they don't. But the value proposition here is really interesting. The source says the cost isn't money. The cost is the adult's willingness to be humble and to change.
That's the tuition fee, your ego.
You have to pay with your ego to get the value out of this coaching. You have to admit you don't know everything. In fact, you might not know the most important things.
So let's summarize the curriculum of this life coach.
Yeah.
If I sign up for the Toddler Life Coach program, what am I learning? What are the core modules?
Okay, Module 1 is Emotional Regulation 101. And you don't learn it by teaching it. You learn by practicing it when things go completely chaotic.
Right.
When the room is spinning, can you be the calm center? That is the final exam every single day.
Module 1, stay calm when the spaghetti hits the wall. Got it.
Module 2 is Advanced Presence and Mindfulness. Can you sit with an ant for 10 minutes without reaching for your phone? Can you actually be where your feet are?
That's a tough one. Module 3.
Module 3, Finding Joy in the Mundane, or finding joy in small things.
That last one is huge.
It is the absolute secret to sustainable happiness. If you can only find joy in the big things, a promotion, a vacation, a new car, a wedding, you will be fundamentally unhappy 99% of the time.
Because big things happen so rarely.
Life is mostly Tuesday mornings.
That's so true.
If you can find joy in a ladybug, or a really good bubble bath, or the sound of rain, or an empty cardboard box like a child does, you will be happy most of the time, because those things are everywhere all the time.
That is a profound ROI, an incredible return on investment.
It is the only investment that ultimately matters.
So what? For the listener, we've gone through this philosophy, we have these metaphors, but why does this matter on a practical level? Why should a tired parent adopt this mindset when they are just trying to survive the day?
Because it transforms the entire experience of parenting from a burden to a practice.
Be more about that. From a burden to a practice.
If you view parenting as a series of chores and struggles, get them fed, get them dressed, get them to sleep, keep them from breaking things, it is exhausting. It's a constant drain, a depletion of your resources.
It can feel like that.
But if you view the child as your teacher, every single interaction becomes an opportunity for your own growth.
It gives meaning to the chaos.
Exactly. The temper tantrum isn't just a nuisance, it's a test of your patience. The slow walk to the car isn't just a delay, it's a practical lesson in mindfulness.
It makes caregiving less stressful.
Much less stressful because you stop fighting reality and you start learning from it. You stop resisting.
The source also mentions self-correction. How does that fit in?
Viewing the child as a teacher prevents us from projecting our own stress onto them. If I respect my teacher, I'm a lot less likely to scream at them just because I had a bad day at work.
It creates a buffer.
It creates a buffer of respect. It protects the child from our own unprocessed emotions, which is one of the greatest gifts you can give them.
It really sounds like it just makes the home a much more peaceful place to be.
It makes the home a sanctuary of mutual growth. That motto, love for all, service for everyone, it starts in the living room. It starts with the people closest to us.
It really does.
Yeah.
Wow. I honestly feel like I need to go apologize to my kids for rushing them this morning.
You can start fresh tomorrow. And that is another beautiful lesson from the child. Every day is a new beginning. They don't wake up thinking about yesterday's argument. They wake up ready for today.
That's beautiful. Well, we are coming to the end of this deep dive, but the journey, as always, continues.
It certainly does. We're building humans, after all. It takes time. And it takes building ourselves in the process.
So looking ahead, what do we have on the docket for the next episode? What's the next peak on this mountain?
Next time, we're going to tackle the rights of the child.
Ooh, that sounds important.
And heavy.
It is. It's described in the source material as the final chapter in the journey toward a new humanity. We move from the spiritual relationship, which we discussed today, to the societal and legal recognition of the child's dignity and rights.
So how do we legislate this respect?
How do we build systems, schools, and communities that truly honor the child? It's a big topic.
Can't wait for that. It sounds essential.
It will be a powerful discussion for
Okay.
sure. Before we go, I want to make sure our listeners know where to find more of this incredible wisdom. The material today was so rich, and there's so much more where that came from.
Absolutely. You really should visit the Dar el Kalima Publishing House. Their website is darelkalima.com. That's DARELKLEMA.com.
And what will they find there?
A treasure trove of resources, books, articles, deeper reads into everything we touched on today about the spiritual wisdom of childhood.
Support the light, build the human. That's the mission.
Indeed.
And as we close out, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked about the child as a mirror. We talked about the child as a teacher. But I want you to think about this. If your child is a teacher, what grade are you getting in their class right now? Are you passing joy? Are you maybe failing patience? And it's not about judgment. It's just about awareness. maybe it's time to study a little harder.
Beautifully said.
Thank you so much for listening to this deep dive.
And remember our motto:
Love for all.
service for everyone.
See you next time.